Hey everyone, this is Goku. You're watching You, Me, and YTV.
Did you grow up in Canada? Were you alive in the 90s? Did you love YTV? Yeah, you did. Speaking of, my James Bond, my character, dude, you were my Goku. When I first watched Transformers Beast Wars, I'm like, oh, isn't that Goku's voice?
Funny. As grim as things look right now, I kind of like the challenge.
I mean, it was essentially the same voice.
I know, but...
Which was really weird, actually, because when I started getting hired to sound like me instead of a character, it was weird. Because I went, what do you want to sound like me for? Anyway.
Yeah, like your version of Goku, especially whether you're screaming in anger, pain, or happiness, that's the one that feels familiar to me.
It's funny you mentioned the screams in anger or otherwise. That's why I stopped.
Okay.
I couldn't take it anymore. And it wasn't that I couldn't take it, because I do lots of stuff where I have to scream.
Problem is, there's always a chance that the increase of energy could have destroyed my body.
I'm trying to think of an example. Let's say you work for FedEx, and they go, okay, we want you to deliver 100 boxes a day, and half of them are this special box, and it's really heavy, but we've got to deal with, the people who are shipping them, and you're not going to get paid for those ones, but you'll get paid for all the other boxes. That's essentially what happened to me and my fellow actors, because the producer of this stuff was, he was an expert at, taking out a magnifying glass and going, let me look over this union contract here. And he decided that screams were vocalizations and didn't need to get paid as a line. Because in the contract, when you do this dubbing stuff, there's a few ways that you can get paid, either by the hour, or by the line. And if you reached a certain number of lines, which I was really fast at, and I would always want to get paid by the line because it was just better financially, more better. How's that for English? It was like, what do you mean? Like half of this script is screams. Well, those are vocalizations, so we're not gonna. You don't get paid for those. Well, if I'm not going to get paid for it, I'm certainly not going to scream, because that's like the worst, hardest part of the gig.
And you don't act like any brother I'd want to have.
So, there was a lot of this with that producer, and there was all sorts of contract stuff going on in that era in Vancouver. And I just went, see ya.
Besides, I've seen how you treat your partners. There's not a lot of job security.
Let me give you a little history on me and anime.
Sure.
I had a production company at the time. And part of what we did, my partner and I, was to reversion foreign language scripts into English and then dub it. And so we had this little venture going on, and we did some of this Japanese stuff. And I would see it coming in, and I went, wow, I just don't like the look of that. I'm a real traditional animation guy. And, the Disney feature animation, the traditional stuff was like, that's the gold standard for animation to me. And then as I'm writing these stories, or reversioning these stories, I'm like, they don't go anywhere. This, like, what? There's no story arc. It doesn't. Where's the end? Well, there's no. I know that's the end of the episode, but what?
Hey, I'm gonna take your rooster and put it in this bag where it will flourish or expire depending on fate.
Hey, is that a good idea?
Roosters aren't like Choo-Choo Nezumis. They haven't the heart for such endeavors.
Oh?
I just didn't get it. And I freely admit that is the probably the largest miscalculation of being able to see where things are going and what's going to be a hit. Because I'm usually pretty good at that stuff, especially like musically or artistically. I can kind of go, ooh, there's a new direction. That's cool. That's going to go somewhere. Not with anime.
I am sad now, because Lambtron must be very lonely because there are so few Lambtrons in the world. Will he ever find a companion?
This doesn't make sense. Are those stupid things supposed to be animals or robots or what?
I don't know, but I suddenly kind of want to own them all.
And then it becomes the biggest frickin' thing when people hear you were the first Goku, what? They go nuts. They go absolutely mental, and it's great. I mean, I embrace it now, and it's kind of fun because every English Goku after me was sound like that guy, sound like that first guy.
You mean your real voice?
Yeah, basically. And then eventually it just became, like the guy who does it currently, who's done it forever. He doesn't really sound like me. But the right after me, the next, I guess there was probably 3 after me in Vancouver before it went to Texas.
Yeah,
because it was way cheaper. Sorry, everyone, but that's why it went there. Hey, sound like Ian. And so that's kind of cool.
No, Sean's doing it now. He's doing a great job, and he really embraces it,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Better than some guy like me that went, I don't want to do that.
All right, then. We have no other choice now but to attack him head on.
Referring to a question that one of my viewers, Rocky, had asked, I wanted to ask you about the experience of recording when you're dubbing versus they build animation around your performance.
Whoa! This shines as brightly as Bagheera's eyes.
Great question. And that's a good way to ask it, because while they are both acting, dubbing is very mechanical, because you got things you're trying to match. And like I've done just a scat of it. And there are people that get really good at not just fitting the flaps, but making something that is inherently unnatural, trying to match what someone is saying the way they said it, and still making it sound kind of natural. And there's a real knack to that. It's not easy.
Look, I've got everything I ever wanted right here on Earth. All I need is my family.
It's not that one is better than the other. In many ways, dubbing is more challenging because of that. But it's to be specific, it's more challenging to make it good. My preference is doing prelay, which is voicing it first from a script, because then you can do whatever you want, especially with actually any character, whether it's dramatic or really funny. It's just far more freedom doing it that way, and that's my personal preference.
Mega Man! I like it!
What's a role that the fans remember the most, I guess? Mainly the ones I've talked to you about, right? They're always coming up to you and stuff like that. And you're like, remember an episode when this happened? And there's this.
And I never know the answer. But I remember recording these things, and I remember anecdotes of the records. But the actual story points, man, that's tough. I can't even remember story points from stuff from my series that I wrote.
Well, what series did you write? Let's go into the writing part of Mr. Ian here.
Well, the biggest one for your Canadian fan base would be Being Ian.
Anything is possible. Just give it your best shot.
That was all based on my life, and I created it and wrote it. I mean, I didn't write every episode, but
it's also named after you.
Yeah, it was a slow creative day. So I said, hey, I'm thinking of new series to create. Me. My history with performing went back to my earliest memories. It started with puppetry. I really liked puppets. Moved to ventriloquism. I have a custom wooden dummy that I had made. So, I was participating in anything that was going on in school, drama classes, that kind of stuff, plays. From there, it went to filmmaking, and I did my own animated movies. Claymation, I did some drawn animation, some rotoscope. I would do voices for my own films, and that culminated in winning the most promising filmmaker in BC when I was graduating grade 12. And that's really the trajectory for me being a voice actor.
Of course, I must be basic.
I really want to talk a little bit more about Glitch Bob, because...
Okay.
And the process of you getting that role, so the other actor, I'm guessing, didn't want to return, and they had you already in their wheelhouse? What happened there?
No, it wasn't that.
Really?
It was. It's a classic story of an actor who knows their worth and says, I want to shoot higher. And what that means is you move out of Vancouver. It's Michael Benyer, also a good friend of mine, who said, I'm gonna go to LA and I'm gonna do it. And the production company goes, well, you can't do that. You've got this series. And I can record it from down there. We can connect and da. No, we're not going to do it that way, which is rubbish. But anyway, and so they had this standoff, and the famous quote, I wasn't in the room for this, but this is the story, is that Michael said, you can't fire me. I'm Bob. And those same guys that we were talking about earlier, the British guys who made Reboot, some of them were a little volatile. Let me just put it that way. And the main producer was very volatile. And they heard that and just went, oh, yeah, we can fire anyone. And they fired him. And they rewrote the story to go, oh, okay, so Bob gets chewed up, and then he comes out, and he looks a little rougher, a little tougher, and he's going to sound a little different. Enter me.
You just can't talk in these things.
And that's the story between how Bob ended and Glitch Bob started. And yeah. And then they kissed and made up, and Bob came back, and then you had the episode My Two Bobs.
Marry him? I don't think so.
Where you had old Bob and new Bob talking across the table to each other going, wait a minute, I'm Bob. No, wait a minute, hold on, I'm Bob.
So, what do you think happened?
Well, I know what happened to me. The question is, how were you created?
Me? What makes you think I'm the cop?
And it's funny because, I bump into Michael down here occasionally, like every year at least I see him. And, we share that story, and we're fine. It was just the other guys.
So you had a voice in Sausage Party. That must be interesting to see that you were in one of the first CGI animated shows, and then you got to see where that technology would eventually lead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was a highlight. I loved doing that movie. I did a bunch of voices in that movie. I can't remember which ones. I know I was an apple. It was a flamboyant apple. It's raunchy, obviously.
Yeah.
But I just knew that this was going to be a big thing, and it was. I mean, that made the news.
All right, so one of our viewers, I believe his name is Everall, and I apologize if I mispronounced that, bud. I'm not good with names, but he was mentioning he really liked your work as Dr. Hiss in The Botsmaster, and you're playing a villain, man. You play a lot of heroes, but there you were as a villain. So
Yes.
What was it like getting to show your bad side, sir?
I love that. I love it because that was like a super cartoony villain.
I think he was in here somewhere, something. He had a hiss, obviously, because it was in his name. By all means, we can fully control every police spot in the city.
Excellent.
I love doing villains. My favorite thing, I actually don't love playing heroes because it's like, well, yeah. I mean, the most fun guys are either really bad or really funny. And the hero is just, oh yeah, it's the hero. To me, that tells you a lot about my makeup. But yeah, no, I love playing villains whenever I can.
What do you got going on right now that you would love fans to know about and stuff like that?
A little Disney show for younger viewers called Vampirina. And I play a French chef character named Chef Remy Bones.
You're here in the presence of the monster who haunts the spookiest kitchens of the best restaurants, with eerie hors d'oeuvres of the mysterious croissants. Why, it is Chef Remy Bones.
And there's lots of singing and dancing. It's like every episode is like a flippin' musical. It's really good.
Awesome. You did Igor and Super Monsters as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds very exciting. But right now, it's time for something else.
Yeah, that's current. And I'm also in The Hollow. I'm also in a series called The Dragon Prince. And I play King Alling. Your audience would probably like this video game. I'm in a video game called Thimbleweed Park, and I play Ransom, the insult clown.
Tell our readers in your own words why your career hit the skids.
Fuck you, tabloid hack.
And there's 2 versions of the game. There's one where everything's bleeped out.
I hope no one gets their feelings hurt easily.
And then there's one where everything's not bleeped out.
Go fuck yourself. You smell like shit, dumbass. Greedy little shit. It looks like your dad fucked a pizza.
I like how you assume my audience is going to gravitate towards this. You're right.
I'm just
You're
guessing.
right.
Man, fuck Thimbleweed Park. Fuck it to hell.
All right, man, I appreciate you spending so much time talking to me and the audience about this wonderful period of not only television, but your stellar career. You still got amazing things going on. You're still working your ass off. And where can people find you on social media?
Facebook is kind of private, but you can find me on Instagram at Ian James Corlett, no spaces, and see my beard.
Check out more episodes of You, Me, and YTV on Facebook and YouTube. Sweet one-of-a-kind interviews with PJ Fresh Bill, PJ Paul, Tarzan Dan, the cast of Student Bodies, the voice acting cast of Sailor Moon, and much, much more. Exclusively on You, Me, and YTV. Season 2.